You've had a fire. You have a whole pile of really important family memories, whether they be photographs, whether they be documents, whether they be artwork. What can you do? What should you do to stop this damage from continuing, from, well, having them destroyed completely? Or what should you do just so that they're, well, restored back to where they were? My name is Mike Patterson. I'm a professional, full-time photographer located here in Southern Alberta, Canada. I've been doing this for over 38 years. I also run a full-service photo lab. I've dealt with thousands, if not tens of thousands, of fire, smoke, flood damage, prints, negatives, artworks, documents. And in this video, I'm going to go through and I'm going to tell you what you should do if you've had pictures that were damaged by fire. Now, in the previous video, I talked about smoke damage. I also talked about just general aging. This video is specifically for fire damage. What's the difference between smoke and fire damage? The difference is this. Smoke damage, the pictures have faded. They've dried out. They've got some discolorization to them. Fire damage is where there's actual damage to the picture. Whether it be the album or other pictures have melted to it, whether it be the pictures themselves have started to burn, whether it be many different things. They've stuck to the glass, whether it be the frame is stuck to it and you can't get the picture out from behind the glass in the front. There's so many things that can happen with fire damage. So we're going to talk about that in this video. Now, before I get started, use your head. I'm talking about fire damage in certain situations. If your situation is different, find somebody that you can talk to that you trust locally. And I'm going to tell you that in a second here. Find somebody that you can talk to locally anyways. If you're local to me, great, bring your stuff to me. I may even refer about bringing pictures to me, but I know if you're halfway around the world, you're not bringing them to me. But you want to find somebody like me, somebody who's qualified enough to repair your pictures. In doing that, it's going to disqualify a lot of companies. Your drugstores that also have photo departments, your department stores that have photo departments, your electronic stores that also have a photo department. You want to find a person or a company that is operated locally, that has the ability to do this stuff locally, that doesn't outsource, send away, and, well, wash their hands of it and expect somebody else to do all the work. You want to find somebody that is trustworthy enough that you can talk to the person that's doing the work, and you can be sure that if you have any questions, you're going to be able to talk to them again. So that's a word of warning. And like I mentioned before, think before you act. Talk to somebody if you have to before you act. So let's get into it. Fire damage. Now, I didn't talk about it in the previous video, but I'll throw it in here. If you have original artwork that is smoke damaged or fire damaged, you're best to find somebody that does artwork restoration. Now, depending where you live, it may be near impossible to find somebody. The people who do this charge a lot of money. They're really good at it. Well, most of them are really good at it. And it's very labor intensive, but they can do the work for you. With artwork, when it gets damaged, an original canvas, an original watercolor painting, an original anything, to get that restored requires a specialist. If you want the restoration to be a copy, the stuff I'm about to talk about will work, but you will lose any historical significance. You will lose the originality of it. You will lose, well, any monetary value of it. But if it's just something that is important to you as an image, you can do the following. Likewise with documents. If you have a document that is significant to, well, you, the world, your family, whatever, that document may have to be restored or may have to be preserved in the state that it's in to hold the historical significance to it. Having a copy made of anything will reduce the, well, historical significance, reduce the monetary value of it. So be careful with artwork, be careful with documents. But I do restore a lot of documents because many people just want the document itself so that they can read it, such as a birth certificate, such as a marriage certificate, such as some document that was given by, well, I've had some brought in here that were signed off by presidents and prime ministers and kings to thank a family member for their action or for a reaction or for whatever. And yes, that document is historically significant, but they just wanted it. Copy of it. They just wanted to see it. It was damaged so bad they knew they could never get it fixed, but they wanted it fixed up and a copy made so they could give it to the kids and so on and so forth. So like I said, be careful with stuff like that. But let's get into photos. Let's get into negative slides. Probably the worst things to deal with in fire damage is negatives and slides. Why? They melt. Sorry, but they melt, and they melt fast. And they get into a big lump, they get into a mess, and it's really hard to separate them. Fire damage with negatives and slides, honestly, if it's anything past a little bit of smoke damage up to a little bit of heat, once it passes that, they're pretty much ruined. But again, find somebody locally that you can take it to. If it's prints can be restored, repaired, fixed up, depending upon the damage, sometimes quite easily, sometimes it's more difficult. But be careful, be very careful. Here's some things to be aware of. And again, talked about some of these in the last video. First of all, anything that's fire damage, do not try fixing it yourself. Do not go online and Google and spray Febreze on the print or on the negatives. It doesn't work. It's a chemical you're spraying onto pictures. Don't do that. Don't put them in a shower. Don't put them in a moist room. Don't put them outside in the sun. Don't do anything like that. Don't run them under the water. Don't do anything like that. Use your head. Be smart. Relax. Once the fire is over, once the fire is out and you have the prints in your hand, do not try wiping them. Do not try scratching them. Do not try bending them. Do not try doing anything to them, because the damage has stopped at this point. Yes, they're still going to fade. Yes, they're still going to degrade in quality. Yes, you're going to have issues if you don't do anything, but it's not like you have to do it immediately. And one of the worst things I see from people is that they've made the damage worse by doing stuff like trying to wipe it, trying to scratch stuff off, trying to cut corners so that the fire damage is off, and so on and so forth. Stop, stop, stop. You want to take it, and if you have the ability, and I mentioned this in the previous video as well, if you have the ability and you have a good quality scanner and you can scan it at a really good high resolution, you can send your digital files to somebody like me around the other side of the world, and I can fix them for you, or somebody else you can send them to. But if you need to take them to somebody to get them scanned or to get them digitized if they don't fit in a scanner, you want to make sure that you're taking it to somebody that does the work local, that doesn't ship it halfway around the world. Because when you're shipping damaged photos, damaged artwork, damaged whatever, if it's not packed up 110% perfect, you're going to get more damage. I mentioned in the previous video about somebody who shipped away a bunch of smoke damage stuff. Came back pretty much as sawdust because it had been jostled around so much, and it was bad. It was really bad. Well, we had something similar happen with somebody with a block of prints. They were fire damaged. They were sort of stuck together. It wasn't really water. It was just sort of a congealed mess. And they put it into a box, took it to a store. They shipped it to their head office, who then shipped it to another place, who then sort of misplaced it, wasn't too sure what was happening. Ended up back at one of their other stores where the person started to pry it apart with a knife and started cutting the pictures apart. It should not have been done. The damage was just insane what was done to it. There was better ways to do it. So you want to be able to take it to somebody that you can talk to, that is going to do the work themselves, that has experience doing it, and that you can leave the stuff with. You also want to find somebody that doesn't run the stuff through an automated machine. The reason being is this. Many of the automated machines drop a picture down, they go through some rollers, they bend, they twist, and they come out the other side. The problem with that is any picture that starts to get damaged or has been damaged, dried out, anything like that, as it starts to bend, it cracks. It gets stuck, it gets ripped, it gets torn, the damage gets more. You want somebody that's going to flat scan it or flat digitize it with a digital camera and then reproduce it from there. Now, what about the originals? Honestly, smoke damage, fire damage, flood damage, originals, they're done for. They really are. Once you get them repaired digitally, get rid of the originals because they're just going to continue to age, continue to just get worse. So get your artwork, send it to somebody who's a professional at art restoration. Get your documents and either send it to somebody that does document restoration or get them copied. For your prints, slides, and negatives, if you can with the slides and negatives, get them digitized, get them restored and repaired, and then get prints made from there and keep the digital files as well. So that's what to do if you're dealing with stuff that is fire damaged. In the next video, once I get it out from producing it and everything, I'm going to talk about moisture damage on photos and what you can do to, well, prevent further damage and to repair the damage that you already have. So my name is Mike. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye now.